998, 999, 1000, 1001. Oh, hey guys, didn't see you there. Hey, Mr. Nichols, over here getting swole in this corona apocalypse. Hopefully you guys have been doing well. Hey, I just got to tell you guys, I was really impressed by how you guys did on those Flipgrid digital quizzes. Some of the ways that you guys were able to show your work was really impressive, and really you were able to showcase a lot of your creativity. It was awesome. So I wanted to just take a little bit of time here to kind of show you guys a little bit of what I'm expecting for your lab that we're going to be doing today. So it might be a little bit difficult to visualize what you're kind of doing here, especially from the picture, and the directions might be a little bit hazy. So I wanted to take some time to show you guys what my setup of this would look like. Now, to be honest, there's a lot of different ways you could do this. If there's something else that works better for you, given the materials that you have, you might have a sibling or someone nearby that could help you with this, and you kind of use them. That's totally fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what I would do with this, given what I have at my place. So let's go ahead and get to it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and prop you up here for a moment. So basically what we're trying to do is we're going to try and basically simulate what we would have done in class this week. So I've kind of streamlined this lab down into just one part. So we're just specifically going to be focusing in on angle of impact. So if you remember correctly, angle of impact is going to be the angle at which a blood droplet strikes a surface. Now we can look at a particular spatter pattern at a crime scene, and we can look at the overall shape of those droplets to figure out approximately where they came from. So that's the overall goal of what we're trying to figure out here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be basically looking at multiple angles. So we're going to look at 9 different angles from 90 degrees all the way up to 0 degrees. I know that might sound kind of weird, but if you think about it, if it's coming straight down and striking that surface flat, that's going to be at 90 degrees. So let's go ahead and kind of look at what our overall setup could look like here. So you'll need a couple sheets of paper, which you'll probably want 9 sheets of paper, which, bear with me, it's windy out, so I might have these papers flying around. But you'll want about 9 sheets of paper. Now it can be lined paper, it can be computer paper, doesn't really matter. It's up to you, whatever you have accessible. So what you'll also need is you'll need a way to fix that paper so that way it doesn't move. So I'm just going to use this little manila folder here. You're welcome to use anything that you have at your disposal. And then you're going to need a way to attach your sheet of paper to your folder here, or whatever you're going to use. So I've just got a paper clip right here. So I'm literally just going to clip it on there. And voila, good to go. So again, our goal here is going to be to use different angles to see what that does to the overall shape of the droplets of blood. Now, we would be using simulated blood. For you, I'm okay if we just use water. Water is going to still react the same way. When it strikes the surface, it's still going to have the same ratio, although it might not hold the same shape as a blood droplet would, but that's okay. We're still just looking for the overall trend there. All right, so you'll need an object to basically hold your paper in place. So I just have a little 3-hole punch. You're welcome to use anything that you have at your disposal to go ahead and do that. Now let me go ahead and show you kind of what we're talking about here. All right, so I've got my manila folder here. I've got my sheet of paper attached to it, which let me move that down just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do with this 3-hole punch is I'm just going to set it at different positions in here to change the angle at which the paper is resting. Now, if it's kind of dangling here a little bit, it's fine. It's not a huge deal. So that's totally fine. So I'm going to try and get to just 30 degrees. So I'm going to show 30 degrees to you guys just so you can kind of see what it looks like. Now, you might not have a protractor lying around. So if you don't have a protractor or anything you can use to measure that angle, there's actually a lot of free apps out there. So I just went into the Google Play Store and I searched protractor, and there were a ton of free ones. I'm sure there are for iOS as well. So on here, you can kind of see that it allows you to change the angle at which it's at. So I'm going to try and set it to 30. Ouch. Okay, I'm going to hold it a little bit closer to me so I can see that a little bit better. Yeah, okay, 30.1. That feels good. Does that feel good to you guys? Feels good to me. Let's just work with it. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to approximately hold this to the base of where my sheet of paper is. So now I'm going to move, in my case, this 3-hole punch until that angle about lines up with where it's at on my little protractor there, which it looks like that's a little bit too high, so I'm going to move it down. That looks about right. And it's okay if it's not perfect. Really, all we need to do is we just need to get 9 different measurements between, again, 90 degrees and 0 degrees up here. Okay? So let's go ahead and kind of look at the second part of this. So you'll need to have some sort of cup to hold your water in. If you want to add food coloring to it, you can. I don't have any at my place, so mine is just going to be clear. That's totally fine. So what I'm going to do is you want to make it drop from approximately the same height every time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use a reference point on my body. So I'm going to use about right in front of my eyes as my height. It's okay if it's not exact every time. That's fine. It's not a huge deal. As long as you try and keep it consistent, that's totally fine. So what you're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my fingers good and wet with this water here. And then I'm just going to go and I'm going to hold my fingers up essentially in front of my eyes, which I realize it's a little bit off the screen, so let me push that back a little bit. So I'm going to hold it right in front of my eyes. Now notice how I'm holding it straight down. To be honest, when I was holding it like this, the drops sometimes didn't come out, and you don't want to move your finger up and down. You want it to be completely fixed. So I'd recommend holding your finger still like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do 3 drops because we want to average them out, and that's the value we'll put in our data table. So let's go ahead and give this a go here. Okay. Now notice how I'm not moving my hand up and down. So that's 2 droplets. Looks like I need a little bit more water for the 3rd one. Okay, got quite a few more. All right, so what you're going to need to do then real quick, especially since we're using water and not simulated blood, is you're going to want to go through and just put little dots using some sort of pen or writing utensil around 4 edges of each of your droplets. Because what's going to happen, since this is water and not simulated blood, is the paper is going to absorb the water and it's going to spread out further. So those marks that you just made are going to be really important, especially if it's going to take you a little bit of time to measure them out. Now, again, this is another kind of a tool thing. If you don't have a ruler or any other way to measure, there are some apps that you can use. If you, again, and I think I put a link, I put a link inside of the document for this to basically a website that has a ruler on it. You could use that to kind of measure it up. That would be fine. I would recommend using metric. You definitely don't want to do any of our conversions with fractions. It just might make things a little bit more difficult for you, so definitely use the metric system. But yeah, so use an app, use the website. But if you, for some reason, can't find the tools that you would need to do this, make sure that you just send me an email, or you can message me on the Hangouts chat, and we can work something out for you where, we can bypass around that. We can make some accommodations for you guys. Okay, so then I would go through and I would measure the distance for the length and the width of each of these droplets. I would average them out. So again, add them up, divide them by 3, and then that's what you would put in that data table that's on the lab. So then we would go through, enter all of those values into our equation for angle of impact. So remember the inverse sine the inverse sine of the width divided by the length is going to give us the angle of impact. Okay, so you will also need to take pictures of each of your droplets. So make sure you take them from pretty close. Remember, if you're posting an image into the Google Doc, especially if you're doing it on your phone, there's a little, you'll just click inside of the table where you'll want to put it, and then there should be a little plus sign that you click, and then you can add image from your gallery in your phone. You could also use your Chromebook. That's totally fine if you want to just do it that way. It's always a little weird taking a picture with the webcam though. Okay. Yeah, so I think that is about it. Yep. So if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me on Google Hangouts. You guys have been really awesome about asking me questions through there. And also, again, we do have, don't forget, we will have the office hours on Zoom from 3 to 4 if you ever need help. And I could kind of look at your setup if you're having any issues with that, and we can kind of work around that. So again, if you have any questions or if you have any issues that come up, please make sure to contact me and we'll get that worked out for you. And by the way, yes, there is a Triceratops on my desk here. So if you look, his name is Trevor. He's awesome. Got him at a flea market forever ago, and he's pretty much the dude. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, again, feel free to message me, and make sure you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.